Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker, and let me be among the last to wish you a Happy New Year. I also want to say Happy New Year to Herald Mail Assistant Sports Editor Dan Kaufman. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you, and I'm excited to bring in the new year with a little bit of indoor track.
Well, let's get right into that. As a matter of fact, I was at the Terry Baker Invitational, and I'm walking out, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's my impression of what I just saw here? Very first meet of the year. And I got so in-depth with myself, I said, let's see, South Hagerstown has some guys who are running really fast right now and some guys who are jumping really high.
And that's a really good combination when you're doing indoor track. Yeah, I mean, South has already had two boys set indoor county records this year. Andre Ture, who is a transfer from Oakland Mills and won the Class 2A 55 hurdles championship in the state last year. He's already set the county record in the 55 hurdles at 7.59 seconds, basically blowing away all his challengers. And
yeah, he won the title last year, 7.72.
Yeah, and so he's already doing big things. He likes that HCC track, and he's going to see a lot more of it this season. He also has the top time in the 300 by quite a bit at 37.05 as well. And then you get to Nate Moore, who has already cleared 6'10" in the high jump to set a county record. That would have been the record outdoors as well. He jumped 6'8" outdoors last year. He's one of three kids nationally that has cleared 6'10" this indoor season so far. Wow. The number one kid in the nation is at 6'11". He's looking like he's in form to clear 7 feet, which would be a remarkable achievement. Just big things from those two kids already, and it's only first week of January.
Yeah, you could throw in Khalil Booker, too. In the 55-meter dash for South Hagerstown. He won at the Terry Baker Invitational with the 6.78 time that he turned in. And I guess also a guy that we shouldn't be surprised about when you flip over from South Hagerstown to Boonesboro in the shot put, but just how far can he possibly throw it?
That would be Nick Kidwell, also a football lineman extraordinaire, and he was 1 inch short of the county indoor record when he threw 55 feet 2 inches earlier this year. Former Boonesboro star J.R. Lowry, who's also excelled at Frostburg State, has been on the Division III national stage. He has the record of 55.3, and it sure seems like it's just a matter of time before Big Nick Kidwell takes that mark from him.
So when we look at what we've seen so far, and I know it's still very, very early for indoor track and field, but can South Hagerstown now say, hey, Boonesboro, we're coming for you as a team?
They can definitely say we're coming for you because we've got the stars to make you sweat a little bit. Now, Boonesboro still has a lot in the tank. I mean, Henry Schmidt ran a really sharp 1600 earlier this season, 438.61, which is an excellent time. They still have Donovan McClellan, who leads the county in the 500 and the 800 so far this year. And, of course, we always know with Boonesboro, you got to talk depth, too, because when you score 8 places, those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place finishes add up, and Boonesboro's got a ton of kids to throw out there. But, South has stars, and, depending on how much those stars can get done for them, it's certainly exciting going into that county meet in a couple weeks to think about and want to see how that plays out.
How about over on the girls' side, some performances there so far?
Well, first of all, I mean, Lauren Daniels and Cameron Harper are already doing their thing. Lauren Daniels for Smithsburg has already popped a 7.46 55 dash, which is right there with her best times ever. And Cameron Harper's already run a 500-meter dash in the 120 range. Those are state championship events for both of those girls. And then Emily Alexander at South has already set personal records in the 800, the 1600, and the 3200, and broke the 12-minute barrier with the 3200. So she's doing big things already as well. And of course, you have Jordan Morris at South. 55 hurdles, at South. She transferred from North.
I know, it's a tough one to keep track of.
Yeah, and so she's already gone under 9 seconds in the 55 hurdles, and she's going to be tough to beat in that event again this year as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a fun season. Already some big performances, as mentioned, and certainly improvement to come as the year goes along. Smithsburg Invitational, the next meet coming up this week, followed by the Warrior Invitational, and then we get to county, so that's not that far off. Dan, thanks for being here, and again, Happy New Year.
Always a pleasure. Happy New Year to you.
I'll be back right after this with wrestling. Andy Mason joins me for that in just a moment.
Champions are not merely born, they're forged in the crucible that is flag football. With equal parts turf, pigskin, and heart. That's why Buffalo Wild Wings donates to boys and girls clubs across the country to not only help thousands of kids learn about teamwork on and off the field, but to help them fulfill their destiny. to shred defensive lines, terrorize the secondary, and emerge bonded as true champions.
The Hagerstown Roundhouse Museum presents a holiday tradition, the Trains of Christmas. The gigantic O-scale 3-rail Christmas layout depicts trains operating in a snow scene on 4 levels. The smoke and sounds of the steam and diesel locomotives fill the air with railroading, symbolic of yesterday and today, mesmerizing visitors of all ages. Bring the whole family to experience the visions, sounds, and snows of Christmas past and present with the Trains of Christmas at the Hagerstown Roundhouse Museum.
When you're sick or hurt and can't be seen by your regular doctor, you just want to feel better faster. Make a convenient appointment or simply walk into Meritus Urgent Care, where you can receive attention from our caring professionals, from sprains and strains to sore throats, earaches, and other ailments that are not life-threatening. Meritus Urgent Care has you covered with on-site labs and x-rays and much more. We're conveniently located on Pennsylvania Avenue in Hagerstown at the Sylvania Center. Feel better faster with Meritus Urgent Care.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We continue now with wrestling, and Herald Mail sports editor Andy Mason joins me. Happy New Year, Andy.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Wes.
Well, I'll tell you what, leading up to the new year and through the holidays, Aaron Brooks of North Hagerstown, nothing has changed there. I mean, this guy just keeps raising the bar. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we've gotten so used to it, you know, but we sort of take it for granted. But it still doesn't, you know, he has dominated high school kids for, you know, he's a senior now, for 4 years. Well, over Christmas break on Friday the 29th, he went to the Lock Haven Classic, a college tournament, and was allowed to compete. He competed unattached, representing the Hagerstown Police Athletic League. Here's a high school kid wrestling with, you know, college kids, 16-man bracket. He wins it. You know, he gets a kid from Messiah in the a man from Messiah in the first round, beats him 16-1. Then he gets a Bucknell wrestler, wins by major decision, and then he gets a real good Bucknell wrestler, a kid who Nick Stefani. Just to let you know about Nick Stefani, a week before this tournament, he Bucknell upset nationally ranked Pittsburgh. I believe Pitt was ranked number 24 in the country. Stefani had the big win in that match. He's named the Bucknell Athlete of the Week. They meet in the semifinals of this college tournament, and Brooks beats him 16-1. I saw a video of that match. It was just, you know, it was a clinic.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a legend that just keeps
it's
building.
incredible.
I mean, are we appreciating this enough right now?
Well, I don't know. You get so used to it. I mean, he's won national titles, world title. Yeah, I mean, but it's still something else. I wasn't so sure. I knew he'd do well, but I wasn't, you know, it's college guys.
Yeah.
You know, Brooks is, you know, on a path to be a lot better than these guys are, but he's still a lot younger. You know, he's just 17. He's not going to be 18 till this summer. So then he gets to the finals. He faces, you know, Lock Haven's ranked number 17 in the country. He gets one of their starters, a kid who qualified for the NCAA Division I National Championships last year. And Brooks, bam, is down 2-0. Then he's down 2-1 at the end of the first period. He's down 3-1 at the end of the second, but he's Aaron Brooks. He found a way to come back. It's tied 4-4 at the end of regulation. He gets the takedown in overtime, and he wins the college tournament as a high school kid.
It's just unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
what can't he do is what I say to myself.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, and we don't know that, and we may never find out. One thing that he is, though, he is now the all-time county leader in wins.
Yeah, as far as his matches, just with his Hubs North High singlet on, he's had 153 of them, and he's won 51-2. You know, he lost one match as a freshman to a nationally ranked senior. He lost one match as a sophomore to a nationally ranked senior, and he's been unbeaten since then. But yeah, Brendan Colbert was the all-time leader. 2014 North grad. He ended his career with a sensational 149-6 record. Well, Aaron Brooks right now is 151-2, and those wins I don't see a 3 coming at the end of that the end of that overall record.
No, and he'll be in action this coming Friday and Saturday, 31st annual Hub Cup. You have Aaron Brooks, who is a returning champion there, and Tyler Cook too for North Hagerstown. Unfortunately, only the Hubs from the county are a part of this year's Hub Cup. They are the defending champions, though, as a team.
Yeah, they'll have their work cut out for them to
certainly
defend that title. They're a little bit down this year. 20 teams coming from 4 states, you know, PA, obviously Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia. It's going to be another real tough tournament. St. Paul's from Baltimore is coming. They have some nationally ranked kids. So yeah, it should be a good tournament, but yeah, it's very disappointing, at least to me, that North's the only Washington County team there. I think a lot of county teams are missing a great opportunity to, you know, it's the best tournament by far in Washington County, and it's right here, and
Yeah.
there, you know. I could really get into
I
it,
know,
but I'm
I
not
know,
going to. Yeah, but it's a shame. It's
yeah.
disappointing
It is.
that more of these local teams aren't taking advantage of this great tournament.
Yeah,
But
you talk about North being down perhaps a little bit this year. Williamsport having defeated them for what, the first time in 7 years?
yeah, first time since 2010. You know, North had owned them for a half dozen, 7 years. But North, Williamsport finally. You know, before North, I think had won 2 in a row. I believe 2 in a row, like 2009, 2010, and before that, Williamsport had beaten them a whole bunch of straight years. But now Williamsport got back on top. They beat them 49-20. Williamsport's off to a great start. They've had 15 dual meets, including the Musselman duels, and they're 13-2.
Yeah, that's
And North's 11-5. You know, a little bit down, but they've wrestled a lot of good teams.
Right.
Williamsport's tough. They wrestled Middletown that night. They're tough. They've already faced Damascus, Huntingtown. I think La Plata. Those are their 5 losses.
How about South Hagerstown?
Yeah, how about South? They're right now 4-1.
But they've already gotten a win in the county, which is something that they have been looking for.
Yeah, they beat Boonesboro. And actually, they
Actually,
beat
a couple
Boonesboro,
of wins,
Smithsburg,
right?
and St. James.
Yeah, and St. James, if you want
Yeah,
to
so
go,
they're-
to the private schools too. Yeah, so I mean that's
Yeah, great start.
tremendous start
Yeah.
for South Hagerstown.
I actually think if the season ended right now, just at 4-1, they would be eligible for the 3A West duels.
Wow.
But there's a lot of wrestling left.
Yeah, a lot to be done.
A lot to
yet.
be done.
Wanted to hit on TJ Quillette at St. James too, going over the 100-win plateau already as a junior, and undefeated right now, 15-0.
Yeah, he's having a great season. He's won the Max Horrors tournament title in his own gym. At Berkeley Springs after winning the season opening tournament in his gym. He looks like he's pinning just about everybody.
Yeah.
You know, last year he went 52-12. You know,
Yeah.
he gets a bunch of matches. He's winning. So just a junior getting 100 wins. That's great. And two Williamsport seniors also recently got 100 wins. Bryce Palomar and Cody Crawford.
Yeah, so some more Century Club members there, and this is just we're about a third of the way through the season right now.
Yeah, all the good stuff's coming up.
Yeah, a lot more to come, that's for sure. And Andy will be here to guide us through all of it. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, Wes.
I'm back right after this. I've got Bob Parsaliti and girls basketball in just a moment.
At Hamilton Nissan, we know you've got places to go, so let's travel together. The Nissan Rogue, plenty of room for you, and plenty of room for him. With nearly 40 cubic feet of cargo space, everyone will be using the Rogue for everything, all the time. And on occasion, you'll find an evening for yourselves, and the Nissan Rogue will be right there with you. Hamilton Nissan, let's travel together. Come see us on the Dual Highway.
At home, amid protest, questions were asked.
As the Vietnam debate raged, for those who fought,
From all walks of life, we went where our country told us to go. And sometimes we had to say goodbye to friends.
the Joint Veterans Council of Washington County asks you to join with them and exercise the freedom of choice Vietnam vets helped ensure to honor their service and sacrifice with a monument in their honor.
Freedom is not free. Donate today to the Vietnam War Veterans Monument.
Welcome back to Inside Sports as we continue to catch you up on what transpired during the month of December. We're about a third of the way through the season. Bob Parsaliti joins me now for girls basketball. And Bob, what do we know on the public school side that we didn't know going in when we presented the preview?
I think everything's changed, to be honest with you. I mean, between injuries and some teams are performing a little bit better than anticipated and other teams are not. And I think I think whatever we said before, ignore.
well, wait a minute. We don't want to throw it out completely, but I understand where you're going with that. And certainly injuries have become a big theme. Let's start with Smithsburg and Ashley Davis, who certainly was a candidate to be a player of the year this season.
Yes. Well, she got hurt in the Clear Spring tournament. And I did notice it. I mean, all of a sudden then I'm seeing them working on her left leg, and it ends up being that she broke her foot. It happened sometime in the second half in the game against Clear Spring, and she sat down, and I saw them take her shoe off and start working. I thought it was an ankle, and she's done. She has a broken foot.
And that's kind of a domino effect now for Smithsburg, a team that didn't have a lot of players to begin with, not a tremendous amount of depth. and now an injury to Bailey Grove that's going to keep her out for a while. All of a sudden, Coach Chip Bakewell's down to 5 players.
And he has 5 players that are injured too. I think I know he's got one with a bad leg, and I think he said 2 concussions, and he has 2 now. These 2, and these 2 are major players for them. So this is when basketball gets kind of weird, because it changes the complexion of the game. Not so much, and I mean, it's bad enough for the teams itself, but the game goes differently because it gets called a lot differently by the officials. And I'm not blaming the officials on this, it's just kind of human nature. When a team has only 5 players playing, there's very few calls made because they're afraid of getting to the game so that it's 2 on 5. So I think the game gets really weird, and it's kind of hard for everybody to play because they don't know what to exactly do and how to handle it. So that's one of the things that I think Smithsboro is going to have to handle.
Yeah, that is going to be very difficult for them, but it'll be a challenge, at least for a little while. Let's talk about a team that's off to a good start, a team that's been very good in the county, the best in the county the last several years in Williamsport at 6-2. But you look at that, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors there. But for Williamsport, what definitely is working for them, the foundation is what's always worked with Coach Kevin Murphy there, starting by playing hard and playing sound defense.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, because they really don't have a dominant scorer. I covered the first round of the Daub when they played Duval, and I talked to Kevin before the game, and he was worried about it because of the size and maybe some of the speed too of Duval. And those girls came out and they played a textbook Williamsport game. First, they took away the press from Duval, which was created just to make turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over, and they exposed the idea that they didn't get back on defense and they were getting easy baskets, which forced them into playing a half-court game. And when they got in the half-court game, they were able to expose, and they passed the ball and got it inside. It was the perfect game for Janae Holman, because that's where she excels. You put her down on a block and she can score, and then she had help from three other girls that scored there. So it was a textbook game for them. And they're coming around because they're starting to drink Kevin's Kool-Aid.
And Williamsport with 5 straight wins right now. They win that Daub championship. For Williamsport, though, almost all of those games have come at home. They've only played 1 game on the road, which they lost. But again, a good start to the season. You can build from there for sure. Boonesboro at 5-2 right now. They lost in their Holiday Classic in the first game that they played, but they came back and got a win. How do we feel about Boonesboro right now? Because when we looked at them before the season began, we said, man, they've got a lot of pieces. They've got a lot of parts. They look like a team that could make some inroads here in the county. Do we still feel that way?
Well, a couple of coaches I've talked to think that they're the public school team to watch. I saw them against Oakdale, and they did a lot of things, but there were things that they kind of missed up on. And it was early in the season. It's against a team that is considered a bigger school, and they played well, but they just couldn't finish. And I think after talking to Coach Sam Conley, it's the story for a lot of teams in the beginning of the season. We have to learn to do the little things, the rebounding, the blocking out, the getting the protecting the ball, and they did pretty well. Elena Pettijohn did a really nice job off the bench for them, made some big shots in that game. I think they have a lot of things. I think the thing that they really are going to have to concentrate on is getting the ball in the hoop. They had so many shots that just rimmed out, and if they could start making their shots consistently, they could do something.
Yeah, they're at Walkersville and at Middletown this week. Boy, those are a couple of tough games there. You mentioned Oakdale. Brianna Walker, interestingly enough, transferring now from Oakdale to Middletown in the middle of the season. So you talk about one team losing a key player. When we talk about Frederick County Schools, another team picking up one in Middletown already, at this point, undefeated. Over on the private school side, very quickly, Goretti sustaining a couple of injuries. It doesn't look like, hopefully, that they'll last for long, but Kyra Stubbs and Ariel Jean-Jacques leaving in the Fort Hill game, in the championship game of that Holiday Hoops Classic at Clear Spring, but still Goretti off to a 10-4 start.
Well, Goretti's got a lot of pieces, and I think they're as athletic as anybody out there. But the loss of those two, they're the kind of the let's say, the conductor and the engineer of that team. I mean, Camille Zaniach, she does a great job bringing the ball up. They have some great players that help them out. But when it comes down to it, those are the two go-to players, one slasher and one that builds on the inside. And Goretti builds off of them. You take those away, and right away it's like, all right, who's going to take over? It's not that, they don't. It's just that they're not used to playing without them.
Yeah, no, they are key and they are instrumental to the success there. As I said, Goretti off to a 10-4 start. St. James at 8-2 right now in a game that we certainly have circled because we'll have it on WCL TV. St. James visiting Goretti. So that's a little taste of what we've experienced so far, sort of laying the groundwork to this point in time. Bob, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm back right after this. Boys basketball is next. Tim Kelby joins me in just a moment.
Want the latest new release movies today? With Movies on Demand, you'll get these titles before Netflix and Redbox.
I was working for the CIA and Pablo Escobar.
That sounds made up, Barry.
We were being hunted. Because sometimes to love someone, you gotta be a stranger.
There's potential for catastrophic weather events on a global scale.
The geostorm.
Watch the newest collection of movies on demand before Netflix and Redbox.
Antietam Broadband's Flight Gigabit service is ultra-high-speed internet delivered by a direct fiber connection. We are one of the few communities in the country to have it. But what does it mean? It means businesses will want to move here, which means more jobs, better jobs. It means access to world-class infrastructure for healthcare, education, and nonprofits. It means enhanced social and economic well-being. That's why it won the 2017 Leading Edge Award from the Chamber of Commerce. Flight Gigabit from Antietam Broadband, changing how people connect.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. Time to catch you up on boys basketball now. And joining me is Herald Mail insider Tim Kelby. Welcome to the show, Tim.
I didn't even know if I knew where the place was. It's been a while.
Well, yeah, we had to send out some smoke signals and make sure you could find it again.
I got here.
I know what you have been able to find, and that's arenas all around the tri-state area. Seen lots of boys basketball. Let's go. Let's go with St. Maria Goretti first, because definitely the team playing the best.
Yeah, it's when you talk about streaks, they start out the season with 6 wins, then they go and lose 5, and now they're on another 6-game winning streak. Capped off with a nice 3-game sweep down in Richmond when they won the Benedictine Prep Capital Classic. Played real well and had a lot of balance as they've had all year. But, of course, R.J. Blakeney was a leader in scoring as he has been most of the games. But, as usual, Golik's played well. Mack has been great out front in a leadership role. And so it's a solid team. It really is up and down, and probably the best team, public or private in the county.
Yeah, 12-5 right now. They defeated St. James earlier this season.
Yeah.
St. James 6-3 at the moment. Bryce Golden has kind of been in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, he's been. I'm sure that the people at Pitt aren't too happy right now with his health, but he's got some nagging injuries with his shoulder, and this past weekend he had some ankle problems up in Delaware where they were playing in the mixer there. So they got to bring him along gingerly. They got a lot of big games left to play this year, most notably the SJIT. But I'm sure Pitt's got a little bit to say about how much he goes ahead too.
Well, the thing is, he's played well when he's been.
When he has, yeah, he's averaging about 17 a game. He's close to doubles and rebounds. So he's done well. But again, he's not the only guy on that team this year. He's got Zador that's been playing well, except for one big goose egg that he put up earlier this year. Colin Baker, is averaging about 13 a game. So he's been a big plus for the Saints.
Another private school team, Broad Ford Christian. Are they about what we thought they would be?
Well, yeah, sure. I'll tell you exactly why they're what we think that they are every year. You know the way that they've always played the tough schedule. They'll play their private schools anywhere. And invariably, you go up and down the schedule and you pick, somewhere along the line, they're going to knock off a public school somewhere. And that's what happened Saturday, or not Saturday, but Thursday during the week in the Daub tournament when he beat South Hagerstown 55-53. It was a game that they led most of the way. Henson Ujo was on top of things. But again, it's just not Ujo. They've got several other, Dillinger and
who's just a freshman.
Yeah, he's going to be a good one. But it happens all the time, and yeah, they're the odds-on favorite to take right now. Take the MDCC.
Yeah, it's kind of Broad Fording's MO. That's the way they do things.
That was the fourth straight year that they had won a consolation championship at the Daub.
Yeah, so well, they'd love.
They have their area of expertise.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. Talking about South Hagerstown, just 2-6 right now. Coach Brashear's putting a lot into changing the culture there and kind of molding this team into what he wants. What's the missing ingredient right now?
Well, the fact, we all thought Anthony Pimentel was going to be, I wouldn't say all world for him this year, but he's been far from it. He's just not done it game in and game out. The biggest thing that's hurt South has been, it seems that every half of one game has hurt them.
Yeah, they haven't shown up.
The first half is, it's nothing. The second half, they come out like they did against Frederick. They had an all-world second half. If they could bottle that, it was a David Miner type of second half. And, but they just haven't been able to do it. And they certainly didn't do it against Broad Fording. And they got beat on the boards, and they were terrible at the foul line.
Yeah, that's a bad
ingredients.
Yeah, that doesn't work well for anyone. Sure. Williamsport lost the Daub championship, 6-2 right now, but I don't think you're totally sold on them.
It's not a solid on ground 6-2. They've got to beat somebody, and they've got to beat some Frederick County schools, and I don't know if they're capable of doing that right now. A lot of it has to do with the youth. They're a young team. But, they did lose to a good Marshall team. Turn around, that team had to go to, went right away to the Governor's Challenge. And they turned around, and they had a really nice win in their second game there. In Gallion, the kid had hit him for 23 in the championship game. He had 30 the other night. So, Thurgood's a pretty decent ball team.
Speaking of teams that Williamsport has beaten, they did beat Clear Spring earlier in the season. Yeah. Is Clear Spring still the biggest competition within the county versus Williamsport?
If they stay healthy.
Yeah.
This is a team that I don't think we've seen at Clear Spring like this for a long time in terms of what they've got across the front line with the big three, with Michael and Myers. And this Davis kid is he's a pretty sharp player. And then obviously with Lazic running the show, they've got a pretty solid nucleus. They got to keep Jarrett from getting hurt. But this is a team that can put some points on the board. And they came up with one game recently where they had a big win against South, and I know of another one coming up here that they're looking forward to. Next week they get North. So I'm sure that they're looking forward to that and trying to prove to some people, hey, we're for real this year.
Give me a little synopsis on North real quick to close us out.
North has, I think, some opportunities if they play well. Tig had a very good night in the second night of the Hubs Mixer.
That's Christian Tig.
Christian Tig, and he's only a junior. But I like what they're doing up and down. They're a little bit more balanced up and down the lineup in the roster. And it seemed, and I think the best thing about them right now is I think that Coach Kevin Hartman is a lot more happier with the overall attitude of the team.
He seems more relaxed to me.
Yeah, he is very much so. I think so. The other night when I was over there, sometimes you think, well, what's Kevin going to be like?
Yeah.
How's he going to feel right now, uptight or loose? And like you said, he's been loose right now. Yeah.
Happy for the holidays.
Yeah, everybody would be.
Tim, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
Well, now that you're all caught up, next week on the show, the first results of 2018. That's next week. Thanks for watching this time. I'll see you then on The Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the street.